Hello everyone, a very happy new year to all of you. In today's video, we are going to look at the 2023 predictions for Taurus moon or Rishaba Rashi. I have given the significations for each of the 12 houses. So just by looking at what is there on your screen, you can understand the area of life that is going to be in focus for 2023 more than what I am going to speak as I present the 2023 predictions. I hope that way this will be educational to you as well. If you look at 2023, there are three transits, and we are considering the impact of all three transits. We are starting with Saturn, and then there is Jupiter, and finally Rahu Ketu. For those who are not familiar with the Indian astrology, Rahu and Ketu are shadowy planets. Rahu behaves like Saturn and Ketu behaves like Mars. Saturn takes 2.5 years, the longest of all the planets, to cross a particular house. Indian astrology does not consider outer planets like Pluto. Okay. And I am not considering planets like Mars, Venus because they change their position fairly fast. So the planets that have been taken into account are planets that spend relatively longer time period in a particular house, and thereby those planets have higher influence on one's life, relatively speaking. Okay, so let's get started. And the first planet that I want to talk about is Saturn. Saturn is moving from ninth house to 10th house. And the other transit is the one happening from 11th to 12th house of Jupiter. And finally, Rahu and Ketu happening on 30th September, almost in October itself. If you look at 2022, Taurus is one Rashi or one sign that had a very good time, relatively speaking, and compared to all other Rashis. That is because Jupiter was in the 11th house. Jupiter 11th house is considered extremely good because 11th house is the house of gains, right? And from there, Jupiter aspects your fifth house, right? Jupiter aspects the fifth house. It also aspects the third house. It also aspects the seventh house. So your relationship with your partner is good. You have very good intelligence. You have very good creativity, and you also have very good courage, and fame is also there, right? So all in all, 11th house Jupiter ensured that you are having kind of a dream run in 2022, again relatively speaking, compared to all other Rashis, right? That is because of Jupiter in the 11th house. Okay. Now, if you look at 2023, Jupiter is going to go from 11th to 12th, right? But before seeing that, let's look at Saturn. Saturn is going from 9th to 10th, right? So what can you expect? You can expect stress in your job. Okay. You may be thrusted with more job. You may have to run against deadlines. Okay. More people may question your work. Your work may come under a lot of visibility for right reasons or wrong reasons, but invariably you will be under a lot of stress. Get used to that. Do not leave your job without another job in hand. Okay, that's something I will recommend to Taurus natives. Right now, Jupiter, I said, has been giving a lot of gains to you, especially from April 2022. But come 2023 April, the situation is going to change, right? Jupiter is going to get into an area of 12th house. 12th house, the most important thing is spends, right? Spend, is the most important aspect of the 12th house. And Jupiter coming here will trigger a lot of spends. You're going to struggle to save, okay? But another key aspect of a planet being in 12th is you will have to spend, but you will somehow get the money to spend. Keep that in mind, okay? But take some effort to save, right? So that it helps you in future. But Saturn is going to keep you on your toes as far as work is concerned, right? There's going to be expenses all around starting April. How is the Rahu Ketu looking? Rahu Ketu is looking fairly good because 11th house Rahu is considered good, just like 11th house Jupiter, and that is going to help you manage excess spends that you're going to have. Rahu in 11th house will also make you feel a lot more optimistic, right? It is a planet of illusion. It'll make it appear that you can do anything and everything, right? So that positive attitude itself can help you to manage a rather tight situation made possible by Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, it is Jupiter, not Jupiter Z. Sorry about the mistake. Okay, and what about the fifth house Ketu? A fifth house Ketu will lead to some kind of dissatisfaction, problems with your children. Okay, please note Ketu is a spiritual planet and it is changing in 30th September. This is 30 September 2023. Okay, I have put it in DD, MMM, YY format. Okay, please note that. So this is 17th January 2023. This is 30th September 2023. This is 23rd April 2023. Right? So in October it changes. That is the end of September, right? So you can experience some kind of dissatisfaction with kids, right? Why? Because Ketu is a spiritual planet. We live in material life. We want money, fame, recognition, right? Solid relationships, right? We want constant pampering. We want the constant dopamine, right? Ketu won't give you that. Ketu will give you aloofness, right? It will take you away from people, not in a physical sense, even in a metaphorical sense. You may be amidst people, but you will feel lonely. That's Ketu for you, right? So Ketu is going to bring that element of detachment, aloofness, to the fifth house area of things. So Taurus people, you may be more disappointed, in the coming 2023. Just watch out, right? So what we have seen so far is a generic prediction, and from now I am trying to bring in some element of specificity to your prediction. For that, I am considering planets in your 10th house. When I say planets in 10th house, I am referring to planets that are already there in your natal chart. That is, when you are born, some planets may or may not be there in your 10th house, right? So what if there are planets? I can give some specific insights, and that's what I'm going to do. If you don't have planets, whatever I'm going to talk about is not that much applicable to you. Okay, the concept is the transit Saturn, I'm mentioning as TR Sat, right, will work with planets that are already there in your natal chart and give you some specific results, right? What are those specific results? For example, if Jupiter Venus is already there in your natal chart, right, the transit Saturn will work with the planets already there and give you lots of material gains. Okay, you may have stress in your job, but you will have lots of material gains. Your manager or your superior may come and say, hey, we are giving you a 30% salary hike this year, but we are not happy with the work that you have done recently. You need to step up the game, right? You can get to hear both, right? Complaints on the job, but at the same time, significant material gains. Need not just be from profession, right? It can be from any area of life. Okay. Now, if there is Mercury there, key thing I will say is watch your speech, because Mercury is the planet of communication. At the same time, Mercury can also help you, start new business, especially export import business, new startups and stuff like that, right? The next one that I want to cover is Saturn. If Saturn is already there, you can expect change of a significant nature. Okay. If Saturn is already there, this is your natal Saturn, and it's going to work with your transit Saturn that is coming from here, right? This is your transit Saturn and this is your natal Saturn. So both will work together and create significant change. Just like the butterfly, right? It was once an insect, right? So it's like a new birth, right? So every change involves a new birth. Small changes, we don't realize that. So just like a butterfly, you're going to feel the change, right? And it's going to be painful at some level, right? Let's say you got a very good job and you're moving to a new place, completely new city or a new country. You have to settle down, and let's say if you have a family, right, you need to arrange education for your kids, new school. a new vehicle, you need to get accustomed to all the rhythm, right? And that is painful. And during the change, you may even think, why did I aspire for a job promotion, right? That's the kind of thing you can expect. Okay. If you are already in your 30th or 60th or 90th year, okay, you will, because when Saturn is already here, Saturn is coming back, right? So you would be in your 30th, 60th, or 90th year, right? Why am I saying 30, 60, 90? Saturn takes 2.5 years to cross a Rashi, and there are 12 Rashis, right? 12 houses. 2.5 into 12 is 30, which is why I said if Saturn is coming to a place where Saturn is already there, you are either 30, 60, 90 years of age or closer to that. Okay. So I'm not considering 120 because there are hardly anyone who is at that age, right? Okay. So if Saturn is already there, significant change about which you're going to talk even after say 10 years or 15 years, right? If let's say Rahu, Ketu, Mars is there, Rahu, Ketu, Mars is there, and I'm going to consider Sun as well. That is what we're going to see next. You can expect problems of a significant nature. Okay. Why? Because Saturn considers these planets as its enemies. In particular, Saturn considers Mars and Sun as its number one enemies. How do you feel if you are with your number one enemy? Or let's say you've gone into the house of your number one enemy. How will you feel? You'll feel restricted. You'll feel angry. You waiting to get up and hit that person, right? And that's how Saturn will feel, right? So Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Sun we are going to see next. You can expect fights. If Ketu is there, some kind of break. Okay. Rahu is there, the tension will be more. And you will feel less recognized. Let's say you are an expert in your field, okay, and you're 50 years of age and you have about 20, 25 years of experience in your craft. A young guy, maybe just 20 years, will come and say, hey, what kind of work you're doing? This is such a lousy work. How will you feel? And imagine, let's say, he says that in front of your customers, maybe important customers. How will you feel? It's just a small act of an immature individual expressing his dissatisfaction about your work, right? We can't satisfy the world. I'm sure we all have dissatisfied customers. But how will you feel? Right? You are an expert in your trade. Right? That's Rahu for you, already being in your 10th house. There's lack of recognition for you. Right? That's how things will manifest. Let's say you're a cook. People will come and say, hey, what kind of food you're making these days? That's Rahu for you, right? So Sun, if it is there, you can expect ego clash with your superiors, father-like figures, government entities, right? Because Sun denotes all of those things. At the same time, you can expect some kind of promotion in job because Saturn-Sun combo gives, government jobs, promotion in jobs, leadership position, and all the other things, right? These things look kind of contradictory, right? That's how life will be if Sun is there, right? You get a promotion, but your boss is extremely dissatisfied. Boss shouts at you. Boss even throws paper at you. How do you feel, right? So that's Saturn, Sun for you, right? So interesting year, and I wish you the best of luck and Happy New Year once again. Thank you.